The 2026 FIFA World Cup was meant to unite North America in a celebration of football, a once-in-a-generation event that would bring together millions of fans from every corner of the globe. The anticipation was electric, with cities across the continent preparing to welcome the world. With the US, Canada, and Mexico sharing hosting duties, the tournament was set to showcase the power of collaboration and friendship between nations. The world watched as borders seemed to fade, replaced by a shared love for the beautiful game. 48 teams, open borders, and vibrant cultural exchange. This was to be the most inclusive tournament ever, a true festival of diversity and unity. Fans imagined a month where language, nationality, and politics would be set aside in favor of sport and celebration. But less than a year out, that vision is fracturing under political turmoil and public outrage in the US. The dream of unity is now clouded by deepening divisions as the country faces a wave of protests and heated debates. Aggressive domestic policies from the second Trump administration have created an atmosphere of exclusion, clashing with the World Cup's spirit. A sweeping travel ban has sparked international condemnation and left many questioning America's role as host. Harsh immigration enforcement and new restrictions now threaten the participation of players, officials, and fans from dozens of nations. Airports that should be bustling with excitement are instead filled with uncertainty and disappointment. The principle of equal participation is in jeopardy, and local financial discontent is fueling the fire. Communities are divided, with some demanding the cup be moved, while others fear the economic fallout of losing such a massive event. Cities like Miami are questioning millions spent on the cup while essential services are cut, tipping public opinion toward outrage. The promise of economic benefit is now overshadowed by anger over budget cuts and growing inequality. The US may no longer be a suitable host, and attention is shifting to Canada and Mexico as safer, more welcoming alternatives. Their stadiums are ready, their borders open, and their citizens eager to embrace the world. Fans and FIFA officials are openly questioning whether the US should remain the primary host. The debate is growing louder, with calls for a new plan that puts fairness and safety first. The prospect of Canada and Mexico taking over is now a real possibility, one that could reshape the future of the 2026 World Cup. Such a shift would send a powerful message about the values of inclusion and adaptability in the face of crisis. The dream of unity is on the brink of collapse, and the world is watching to see whether North America can overcome its divisions, or if the storm will sweep away the promise of a truly global celebration. In June 2025, the US government stunned the world by announcing a sweeping new travel ban, barring entry for citizens from 12 nations. The decision, delivered at a tense press conference, sent shockwaves through the international community and left millions scrambling for answers. In addition to the outright ban, the US imposed severe restrictions on travelers from 7 more countries, making it nearly impossible for them to enter, even for urgent reasons. There were no exemptions, no matter the purpose. Business leaders, tourists, students, and even athletes hoping to compete on the world stage all found themselves shut out. The message from the US was unmistakable: exclusion, at a time when the world was supposed to come together in celebration and unity. For fans and teams from these 19 affected countries, the dream of attending the World Cup in America quickly turned into a bureaucratic nightmare, filled with uncertainty and frustration. Most alarming of all, Iran, already qualified for the tournament, was outright banned. Its players, coaches, and thousands of passionate fans were told they would not be allowed to set foot on US soil for the matches. Never before in World Cup history has a host nation blocked a qualified team from participating. This unprecedented move threatens not just the tournament's integrity, but the very spirit of global sportsmanship. The ban has thrown travel logistics into chaos, leaving airports overwhelmed and sparking protests in cities around the globe. Outrage has poured in from fans, governments, and human rights groups alike. FIFA's core promise, to unite the world through football, now faces an existential threat. The organization is under immense pressure to respond to this crisis. With this ban, the US is signaling that its domestic political agenda outweighs its international commitments, even when the world is watching. For FIFA, the credibility and viability of its flagship event are now at stake. The world waits to see if the organization will stand up for its values or bow to political pressure. The beautiful game, once a symbol of hope and unity, is now being held hostage by geopolitics, leaving the future of the World Cup and the dreams of millions hanging in the balance. The US travel ban's impact goes far beyond Iran, sending shockwaves through the entire world of football. What was once a stage for unity and hope is now overshadowed by anxiety and division as the consequences of policy decisions ripple outward. Teams still fighting for qualification now face a cloud of uncertainty, unsure if their dreams will be cut short by politics rather than performance. Coaches and players alike are left in limbo, their months of preparation threatened by forces beyond their control. For players from banned or restricted nations like Haiti, Sierra Leone, and Venezuela, the stakes are even higher. Every match is played with the knowledge that, no matter how hard they fight, their efforts may ultimately be in vain. The heartbreak of exclusion looms over every training session and every game. The impact isn't limited to the pitch. Families and fans around the world who have followed their teams for generations now watch with growing concern. The sense of belonging and pride that football brings is threatened, replaced by fear and frustration. The World Cup's magic, bringing together people from every corner of the globe, is at risk of being lost to politics. The tournament, once a symbol of global harmony, now teeters on the edge of becoming a casualty of international disputes. Thousands of fans who saved for years, dreaming of witnessing history, may be denied entry simply because of their passport. For many, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now, it's slipping away. Unlike previous hosts, the US shows no sign of creating exemptions for athletes or fans. The doors remain closed, and the message is clear. Not everyone is welcome, regardless of their passion for the game. The fan ID system used in Russia and Qatar, which allowed fans from all backgrounds to attend, seems unlikely in the current US climate. The spirit of inclusivity that defined past tournaments is fading. Diplomatic fallout is growing, with boycotts and solidarity actions now real possibilities. The world is watching, and the pressure on organizers and governments is mounting. If teams can't participate, the tournament's legitimacy is shattered. The absence of even a single nation undermines the very idea of a truly global competition. FIFA's brand of global unity is in crisis, having trusted a host now at odds with its mission. The organization faces tough questions about its commitment to inclusion and fair play. The World Cup risks becoming a symbol of exclusion, not celebration. The empty seats and silenced cheers are a stark reminder of what's at stake. The stakes for football's future have never been higher. As the world watches, the decisions made now will shape not just this tournament, but the very soul of the game for generations to come. The US political climate is making the country unwelcoming for foreign visitors and immigrant communities. Aggressive immigration enforcement and frequent ICE raids have created fear, even among legal residents. Host city leaders in places like Los Angeles and Boston are caught between FIFA's expectations and unpredictable federal policy. Protests and clashes in key cities paint a picture of a nation in turmoil, undermining the image of stability required for a World Cup. Even fans from non-banned countries may now think twice about visiting. The social fabric in host cities is fraying, and the promise of a joyous international festival feels hollow. Instead of unity, the lead-up to 2026 is defined by division and conflict. The soul of the tournament is at stake. Calls to rethink the US hosting arrangement are growing louder. Can the world be invited to a party when the host's house is in disarray? Federal policies aren't the only problem. Local backlash is erupting, especially in Miami. Miami-Dade County approved a $46 million subsidy for World Cup matches while slashing funding for charities and essential services. Residents are outraged, asking why taxpayers should fund a football tournament while their neighborhoods suffer. Commissioner Keon McGee has called for the subsidy to be redirected to community services, galvanizing opposition. This political fight is a microcosm of a national problem. The costs of mega events are clashing with local needs. As cities face budget crises, their willingness to bankroll the World Cup is evaporating. If cities pull out, the US hosting plan could unravel. Canada and Mexico look increasingly like stable alternatives. As US controversy grows, Canada and Mexico are emerging as beacons of stability and enthusiasm. Canada's multiculturalism and open arms make it a safe harbor for the tournament. Host cities like Toronto and Vancouver are embracing the World Cup, free from divisive US politics. Mexico, with its deep football tradition and national pride, is ready to welcome the world. There's no significant backlash in Mexico, just excitement and unity. International observers now see shifting more matches to Canada and Mexico as not just wise, but necessary. This would ensure all teams and fans can participate, salvaging the tournament's integrity. The path forward is clear. North and South offer football's sanctuary. For FIFA, the 2026 World Cup crisis is a financial time bomb. The tournament is expected to generate over $13 billion, but disruption could devastate FIFA's finances and global football development. President Infantino's close ties to Trump are now a liability, as negotiations for exemptions stall. The US market was chosen for its commercial potential, but controversy could make the event toxic for sponsors. Brands built on diversity may pull out, triggering a financial domino effect. FIFA faces a choice: protect its values or risk the tournament's credibility. Shifting the focus to Canada and Mexico could safeguard the event's inclusive nature. The decision will define FIFA's legacy as a global institution. Billions and football's reputation are on the line. With the World Cup approaching, several paths lie ahead. The best-case scenario: the US reverses its policies, granting waivers for all participants. More likely, FIFA may shift matches, especially those involving banned nations, to Canada and Mexico. This would be complex, but could preserve the tournament's integrity. The most dramatic option: marginalize the US as host, making Canada and Mexico primary or sole hosts. This would require a massive overhaul, but might be the only way to save the event. The worst outcome is inaction, leading to boycotts, forfeits, and chaos. The next few months are critical. Decisions in Washington and Zurich will determine the World Cup's fate. The world is watching to see which path football's leaders choose. The 2026 World Cup crisis is a battle for the soul of international football. If exclusion prevails, the tournament will be remembered as the moment football lost its way. A pivot to Canada and Mexico could redefine hosting, prioritizing inclusivity and fair play. This would empower smaller nations and promote collaborative hosting in the future. The crisis is a lesson for FIFA. Future hosts must guarantee open access and non-discrimination. The era of vague promises is ending. The legacy of 2026 will be written by those who decide who gets to play and who gets to watch. Football's global dream hangs in the balance,